a good deal of the work I do falls in the place of change management. And we have these conversations about diversity and equity and inclusion. Part of what my firm looks at is sort of how do we get past that and how do we transform our organizations?
I like the workshop today very much. It's a topic that's really near and dear to my heart. I am an executive director myself, and I know that the importance of having a board that is diverse to bring new ideas and a fresh perspective to the work that we do.
I'm currently serving on the Board of Young Audiences of New Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania, and we're now working on attempting to recruit board members who will create a more diverse board for ourselves.
So if you're really thinking about bringing people on, don't just bring on one woman. Don't just bring on one person of color. Don't just bring on someone with a visible or invisible disability. Because no one wants to be the onlyest one.
This was a really helpful presentation, especially just thinking about our board and how we want to continue diversifying our board, and also making sure that we are creating space and making sure that every person there with their different values and different experiences feel comfortable at the table.
I actually went to a meeting where 2 people were not invited because there were no chairs for the table. Honest to God, I cannot lie to you about this because it was bizarre.
Yvette made it very clear that just having somebody there because he's of color or because he's Chinese or whatever, a different ethnicity, that cannot be. There has to be a more fundamental intention why you want to do this, and not just, okay, we've done it, box, check the box basically kind of a thing. And that's really for us, that's very key. That rang home for me.
Learning happens when people are doing. So my goal is not for them to know what I know, it's for them to understand what they know and how do they build on that process. What I'd like you to do is I would like you to sit with 3 or 4 other people around you, and I want you to answer these questions. And here's the piece about the work: you have got to be brutally honest. If you're not willing to be brutally honest, you're not ready. The work we do is very experiential. We want people to talk and to play together because we know through playing, people are much more open to play, not just for in your head, an intellectual space, but also to be able to build relationships through play.
Yvette is the one who will work to make you better. As our board chair, she was always inspiring the board to be the best that it could be. She wants to lift everybody up, and that's her style, and that's who she is. And she is phenomenal as a human being and as an educator.
Human beings are predominantly made of water, and water moves. So I need to know what your energy feels like, which is one of the reasons that the avatar meetings didn't work, because I don't know who you are.
Yvette has a way of cutting through the nonsense and looking at realities, acknowledging how people really are. And I think this is what I like very much about her. It's not about good and bad, it's about this is how we are, this is how people feel, there are things that we may or may not know.
Are you open to being ignorant? And ignorant doesn't mean stupid, it means not knowing. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of stuff I don't know.
I really liked how she said you really have to question. Ask right up front and be very clear about your ignorance. And that was empowering to get that, and it's going to be really helpful.
I think the more open and the less you have sort of, these are the rules, this is the only way it can happen, you get people breathing into the space. And my goal is to help people to breathe into the space and be able to walk away sort of saying, hey, I didn't know that, or gee, I thought I knew that, and this was a great reinforcement that I do know that I am on the right path. Honestly, it's not my job to educate you. It is my job to have a relationship with you, which means we both need to be in the mud together. I always say to groups, the thing I love most about my job is I never leave the same way I walked in, that I always leave different.